Facebook has been making some major changes again, and this time they're for the positive. We've recently started up some new campaigns on Facebook that are directed to business owners. So we're talking business to business targeting. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to set up B2B targeting or how to find business owners with Facebook ads. And I'm going to share a few strategies that I see working really well here in 2024. So let's dive right in. So I've got my training account set up here, and let's just jump into this and I'll show you a few strategies of how you can target business owners here with Facebook ads. So for starters, this is just a new account, just a demo account that I like to use for these trainings. And we're going to start with using a saved audience. And so the first way that I'm going to show you here is through behaviors. And so if you're in the if you're in your ad manager, your Facebook ad manager, one of the things that you'll notice is that this looks a lot different at the ad set level, right? This is, if you've been advertising for a while, this is probably what you're used to seeing, or if you've been away from it, this is what you're used to seeing. If you go into the ad manager now, you're going to see it looks a lot different, and there's a lot of it's almost like some of these options are hidden. Now, for years, what I've done is I've built my audiences first, right? So before I even start a campaign, I have my audiences in my account saved, and I'm pulling them into the campaign, right? And I do that specifically because, an audience or our market is the starting point of a campaign, right? To be able to create an offer and to write copy and to build funnels and landing pages and all those things, you need to know what audience you're building it for first. And I don't like setting up a campaign and then not having that audience in mind or set beforehand. So I always build my audiences first, just my preference, but that's how I do it. So the first way that I want to show you here in Audiences is just going down to the detailed targeting. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm just going to search business owners, which is the easiest way to do it. And we're getting really good results with this right now. So this one right here is small business owners, and you'll see that this is listed as a behavior, right? So what that means is that Facebook is discerning, or Meta is discerning, that these are small business owners based on how they are interacting on Meta platforms, right? Their online behaviors. And so this is the first way that you can do this. You can just target this, and if you look at United States, 18 to 65, all genders, will go English. Then we have one business owner targeting option. Now, this is a little bit off as far as comparison, right? If you were looking at the statistics, there should be like around 30 million. But this is a great starting point. Again, remember, this is off of their behaviors. And so we see here that this is not targeting like all of the small business owners in the United States, but this is targeting them or putting them into a category based on what Facebook is believing to be the case, how they're interacting online. Now, this is dynamic, right? It updates as somebody's user behavior changes, and 4.7 to 5 million people in the audience, this is a good size audience, right? So if you're trying to find business owners with Facebook ads, this is a really great way to do it. And we've been testing this probably over the past 2 months. I've been off Facebook for a bit now, haven't done much. I ran an ad agency for 12 years and focused on Facebook, but since the changes, I haven't done as much with it. Kind of left off the platform, was doing a lot on Google and YouTube. But this is one that we've been testing again, getting really solid results just with this simple small business owner behavior-based audience. So that's the first one. So let's put that in here. I'll give you a couple others. One, small business owner. Okay, so that's one strategy that you can use. Now, one caveat here that I'll give. Typically, when I'm targeting small business owners, I adjust the lower end of my age to 25, okay? It's, you don't have to do it. It's been something that I've done for years. Aside from this change, I really don't like to mess with age very much in targeting because it can really spike the cost, the CPMs, okay? So this is the first way that I like to do it. We're going to go ahead and create this saved audience, and then we'll go on to the next strategy. So the next strategy, we'll create another saved audience. And this is an oldie but a goodie, okay? I really like this one a lot. So let's go through same thing, right? My default targeting is to adjust the age to 25, all gender, language, English, all. This one is pretty cool. So this is a hack. You can basically do this by searching Facebook page admins, okay? And you'll see this is another behavior-based platform. Now, the reason that I like this one is a lot of times a Facebook page will have a lot of admins, right? There'll be 3 to 5 admins probably on average per Facebook page. However, typically, even if the business owner that you're trying to target is the decision maker and they're not on the platform and they're not the one managing it, they are still on the page as the owner or the admin, right? So even if they're not active on the Facebook page itself, then this is a good way to find them. So you can just go broad and you can just go Facebook page admins, right? Now this gets you an audience that's really too large, and not all of these people are going to be business owners. So there's a couple things that you could do here. One, you could just leave this as is and just say, okay, I'm going to have a Facebook page admins, okay, and I'm going to use my copy to target out business owners, right? My copy and my creative and my offers are going to filter out the business owners out of this audience, but this is really a large audience. So the other thing that you could do here is you could narrow the audience by searching for, you could do this by searching for job titles, or that small business owner behavior that we just added on, we could add that on here. Okay, this one right here, behaviors. And you can see there's a lot of other things that come up. Now this gives us a much more reasonable audience to use if we're targeting the Facebook page admins, right? So we can go in here and we can say this is our second option. We can go broad Facebook page admins plus small business owner. So here's another strategy, and we can save that audience. Okay. Now let's look at a third option, or a third way of doing this, and you may see what I'm hinting at here from that last search that we did. So we can go in here and we can go English. Okay, and then we can go back to Facebook page admins. Okay. And what you'll notice here is that there's additional criteria, right? So there's health and beauty page admins, business page admins, travel and tourism, community and club page admins, retail, sports, food and restaurant, shops, etc. These are great ways to get a little bit more granular. So let's look at just business page admins, for example. Right now we have 2.9 to 3.4 million. So we've got a nice audience of people who, a high percentage of these people are likely business owners, and our offers and our copy and our creative are going to help us to even filter that down further and train the algorithm to show this to the right people. And so we'll do this as a third option, and this is Facebook business page. Oops. Okay, and we'll add that as another strategy. So we got 3 strategies right now. All of these work well for targeting business owners. I've tested all of them. You might be looking at this and saying, okay, well, which one do I choose? Well, you use all of them. You use all of them. And I'll give you a couple more strategies here for finding business owners. These are probably three of my favorite. And I'm using all three of these currently, and they're working really well. So I really like these ones a lot. Let me show you a couple others. A lot of times when we think of targeting business owners, we tend to think of like, we may think, well, LinkedIn or, another platform that's B2B. We got to remember that business to business is still dealing with people, right? And people are on this platform. And so when we target them with these ads, it's all about how do we find them and what are the targeting options and what is our copy and creative. And we have to remember that, business owners are people just like us. And so, we have to remember that we're finding people here in these audiences. So let's look at another one. I'm not going to add this next one on. I just wanted to show as an example. You may have also seen that when I searched the Facebook page admins, right, that other things came up like health and beauty or retail or food and restaurant, right? So if you're targeting those specific types of businesses, then, this could be the strategy that you use. Let's just use food and restaurant, for example. That one's actually pretty small. That's, in my opinion, this is too small of an audience. There is some context that I would use or strategies that I would use for this, but this is a little bit small for me to use on a conversion campaign. You could use it. Just know that your audience size is going to determine, and your budget is going to determine how quickly this burns out, right? So what you're going to do is look at the audience size and look at your CPMs and then look at your daily spend. And that will tell you how long it will take for you to basically run through this audience. And when I'm dealing with small audiences like this, what I'll do is I'll put the audience size on the lower end. So I'd put the 200,000 basically on the lower end of the name of my ad set. And then I have my daily budget, my CPM, and my impressions. And that helps me to calculate how much of this audience have I reached. And if I look at my frequency score, if I see that start to creep up, I notice even if it's not everybody in this audience, I'm like, okay, I'm starting to get to the top end of where I could be wearing out this audience. So if you've ever targeted something and you're like, okay, I've had this, it was working for 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, and then it started to die down. A lot of times we think it's ad fatigue, and that may be the case, but it may simply be that you're not taking into account the audience size, right? So I won't go into that too much more, but just as an example, that's why I'm saying that this audience here is a little bit too small. I'm going to remove that one. Let's look for other ways to find business owners here on the platform. So this way, I get a lot of pushback on this one, on this strategy. And this is a good strategy to kind of transition us into some of the other strategies. So the reason I get a lot of pushback on this is because a lot of people don't like interest-based targeting. And I don't blame them. Interest-based targeting from a conversion, and when I say conversion, I'm talking about for business owners, if you're trying to generate leads of business owners, interest targeting is not great. And the reason that it's not great, and the reason that a lot of people feel this way, is because it's based on basically one or a few data points, right? So let me give you an example. If we're looking for let's see, this is always one that comes up, but it's an old one, right? So Infusionsoft is a software, right? It's not even called Infusionsoft anymore, but it's still Infusionsoft here in their system, right? So this is just an interest. And what we'll notice is that it's a decent size audience here that's worldwide. We look at the settings we have here, it's 1.2 to 1.4 million. And the description of it is it's people who have expressed interest or like pages related to Infusionsoft marketing, okay? Now, everybody is going to say well, that's not a good strategy. That's not a good option to use interest targeting for targeting business owners. And if you're using conversion campaigns, I very much agree with that. But what you're not considering is that there are other types of campaigns that you can use and should be using in a broader marketing strategy. For example, there's what I call awareness and engagement campaigns. And basically, an awareness and engagement campaign is a type of campaign that we use that's either like a video view campaign or a post engagement campaign, or something that is not designed to get conversions. It's designed to go out into a market or into an audience and prospect. And by prospect, I mean what we're trying to do is we're trying to build awareness in that audience. The reason that this is really valuable and really important is because if you have an audience of 1 million people and you're using a conversion campaign to get to those people, what Facebook is going to do is it's going to take your audience targeting and it's going to find the people that have that behavior based on the campaign objective that you've selected. And it's going to primarily show it to those people who have recently been showing a behavior of conversion, right? If you're looking for conversion or leads. If you're using like a lead ad, right? Then with the form on Facebook, right, where they open up the ad, it opens the form on Facebook, they can put their information in and submit it. Facebook is using your campaign objective. You have the 1 million person audience. If 100,000 people in that audience have a behavior of recently having submitted a Facebook lead form, they're going to be prioritized in that audience to show the ads to because they have that behavior. If you have any doubt about this, get on Facebook on your phone or on your laptop or whatever, and go to see if you can find anything you do. Like if you find a reel or a video, watch several reels or videos and look to see how many reels or videos start coming up in your newsfeed more than before. Okay. Or if you start engaging with a specific person. Okay, so like just find one person's post in your feed and start liking and commenting on their post. The algorithm will start to show you more of their posts and people like them that you haven't seen before. If you see an ad that's for an app download, okay, click on that ad, go to the App Store, download the app. You will start to see more ads promoting apps. And this is how the campaign objectives work, is it's showing the behavior of how people interact and engage. So what I'm saying here is within these audiences, right, you're limited by the campaign objective that you select. And so what everybody's focused on with conversion is like that top 1 to 3% of people that are in the buying mentality. Everybody's competing for that. But you can leverage an awareness and engagement campaign. And with an awareness and engagement campaign, what you can do is you can retarget people based on how they've engaged with you here on the Facebook platform or Meta properties. The reason this is valuable is with the iOS update, there's some data loss, and the API and pixel integration can be hard and even expensive to set up if you don't have a direct partner. And you still have some data loss, right, based on privacy laws and things like that. However, with somebody engaging on the platform, you don't have the data loss. And let me show you what I mean. So the strategy here that I'm presenting with this strategy is, we'll say this is the 4th strategy, and I'm giving the context because whenever I give it, I get pushback and people are like, well, that's not a good targeting strategy for business owners. It's not for lead generation, but it's great for building awareness for your company or your brand within your market and basically filtering out people who would be a good fit. So the first one is interests. Okay. And I'm just going to use that one Infusionsoft, even though this is a very outdated example, right? Because this is a marketing software. It's now called Keep, but this is a marketing software for business owners, right? So if their market was my market, I could put together a video or I could put together a post that would be appealing to them and use this as an audience targeting. So this is interest, right? It's an interest that somebody who's a business owner may have. I'm going to create that saved audience. And then I would go out and I'd put a campaign out designed to get that data from the platform. And what I would do is I would then go into the custom audience and I would, you see all these meta sources, right? These are what I'm talking about. These are interactions of the way people are interacting on this platform. And then I can put out an ad like, like a boosted post or anything like that. Everybody who clicks on it, likes, comments, shares, whatever, is going to now be involved in this audience. So if I were to use that example, I would select this audience, I'd choose my page, and you can see the options, right? These are people who follow, who engage, who visit. You have all these different options, and I typically just go really broad and everybody who engaged. The other reason that I like this is that's a micro action, right? So you can build up these warm audiences and use these, and all of a sudden people start seeing you everywhere. And it's like, oh, wow, this is, I engaged with this guy once and now I see him a lot, or this company once and now I see him a lot, and they're everywhere. You can become omnipresent to this small group of people. And this is really powerful. The other reason that I like this is if you use the other custom audience options here in Facebook, then you only have 180 days. Okay. But with the first party data, the on platform data, you have 365 days. So you have access to this audience longer. So this strategy here that we're talking about is number 4, is basically a 2-part strategy. So what you're doing is 4A is finding interests and then putting something in front of them to get their engagement and basically collect data from the platform. B is using a retargeting ad to convert them into leads. Okay. So that's the strategy here, and you'll typically see a really low lead cost on this. And as I showed you on the previous page, there's a lot of different sources that you can use to target this audience. So this is a 2-part strategy for targeting business owners, but it's one of my favorites because this is especially good if you are starting out with a low budget, right? You can put money into building an audience and then you can retarget. And so it's a really good way to build a warm audience if you're starting off with a low ad budget. So this is one that I really like. Now, the 5th strategy that I want to show you can also be 2 parts. And the 5th strategy is just basically building a lookalike audience if you have customer data already. So if you have leads or customers that are in your CRM, you can use a customer list and you can basically just upload this to Facebook. Now, if it's a really small list, then I typically just copy and paste it in here, right? If you're starting off with a really small list, copy and paste it in here. It's going to be too small to, like if it's 100 people, right, or 120 people, you need 100 to make the audience and do this. But I try to get as many as I can. So if you have a list of business owners who you already know fit the criteria, you can paste them in here or upload the CSV, or you can sync them to the platform with tools like Zapier, or sometimes a lot of these CRMs and contact management systems now have this built in, have this feature built in. And so you can sync the audience, and then from that audience, you can create a lookalike audience from that. And you will now be creating a lookalike audience of business owners. So that is the 5th strategy that we can use. The other side of that strategy, which it's really the same, is if you have data here on Facebook from like website events or things like that, you can also use that and create a lookalike audience from it. Those are the 2 most common ways that I will use that strategy. So this is a data-based audience, and that's the 5th strategy that I like to use for targeting business owners. Now, you may have heard several times in this video, I've referenced using your ad copy as an additional targeting mechanism, right? And that's important because as I talked about, you have your market or your audience who's seeing the ad, and you have offers in your business. Your core offer is for those people. And the message or the ad copy is how you present that offer to those people. It's one of the things that has the biggest impact on the success of your campaigns. is how well you can communicate that offer and how desirable you can make it through your ad copy. And there's a lot of ad copy formulas that lean into addressing the audience first. So one of my favorites, especially with Facebook ads, and if we're using short form copy, is the AIDA formula. So that's attention, interest, desire, action. And so if you're trying to target business owners, what you could do, and you have to be careful of this, is you could just like in bold caps put, business owners, right, or brackets. And then you could ask them a question so that the attention is getting the attention of the market because they see the ad and they're like, I'm a business owner, I'm an entrepreneur, right? That's one way to do it. You got to be a little careful for compliance. And then the interest part of that is you ask them a question that's in line with their thinking, right? And that shows that you understand them. So this is an example of filtering out business owners with your ad copy in addition to the strategies that I've already shared with you here. So that's one way to do it. Another way could be you could make a statement that's something like one that we used recently because it was tax season for one of my partners. We were like, for a lot of business owners, tax season didn't go how they planned. Or for a lot of business owners, tax season didn't go how they had hoped, right? So we're past April now. And people found out that they owed more than they thought, right? So what we were doing is we were using the ad copy to basically get the attention of somebody who had that experience who was also a business owner, right? So that's what I mean by using the copy to filter out business owners, is how you speak to them will catch their attention and they'll identify with that statement and be drawn in further. So whenever you're using any of these 5 strategies that I've shown you, make sure that you're also adding on that filtration of using your ad copy as a targeting mechanism as well. So those are my 5 favorite Facebook ad targeting strategies of how to find business owners with Facebook ads. I like to share these a lot. If you'd like information like this, go ahead and click the subscribe button to my channel. I'd love to have you join us. I share information on marketing and advertising and business growth. And I also have a community called the Flywheel Community where I answer people's questions. We do a weekly coaching call and do breakout sessions on these things to go in depth and answer questions, and that is free. So go ahead, check that out if you're interested in that, subscribe, and I would love to see you in future videos where I share more information about marketing, advertising, and business. Thanks.